So health and safety. So health and safety isn't my main area of expertise, but it does overlap with HR quite a lot. So, there are a number of measures that you need to take depending on the nature of your business. And obviously, I can't be too specific because we've got a wide range of businesses here. But the government does outline 5 particular steps with regards to getting people back to work. The first one is about risk assessment and doing everything you can to make sure that the safety of your employees, visitors, clients, suppliers, those kinds of people, or anybody that's affected by your operations at all. So that could be members of the public. So if an employee contracts COVID-19 at work, this would come under the reporting of injuries, dangerous diseases and dangerous occurrence regulations. So it's known as RIDDOR, which I'm sure some of you have heard of. So do watch out for that because it would be a reportable disease under RIDDOR. If you didn't know what PPE stood for before lockdown, I'm sure everybody does now. So you have an obligation to provide personal protective equipment to your employees. So that could be masks, screens, for example, face shields, gloves and other equipment to protect them from any risk. If you have more than 5 employees, certain health and safety measures apply, including risk assessments. So even if you have fewer than 5 employees, I would suggest that you carry out the COVID-19 risk assessment. And again, the health and safety website, which is hsc.org, I believe, provides some really good information and examples of risk assessments. One of the other steps is cleaning and hygiene. So suggested that you use signs and posters to help your employees. If you've got a one-way system, for example, if you've got a new entrance to use and an extra exit, that kind of thing, remind them of really good hand washing techniques and make sure that the hand soap is renewed recently. And just reminders about coughs and sneeze and staying 2 meters apart. When I've been out, it's really easy to forget to stay 2 meters apart, especially when it's a friend or a colleague that perhaps you would sit next to, for example. One of the things that one of my clients has done, who is warehousing and logistics, they have a lot of foreign drivers come into their premises, and obviously they need to use the facilities sometimes. So what they've done is they've installed an outside Portaloo with hand washing facilities. So it allows that driver to use the facilities, but also it keeps the facilities in your business just for your employees. So again, that kind of reduces the risk of any kind of spread of infection there. And I think the provision of a hand sanitizer goes without saying. So step up the cleaning regime in your businesses and include regular cleaning of those touch points, vehicles and equipment. So before you open your doors, consider whether you have enough supplies in, because I'm sure that that hand sanitizer and that disinfectant isn't going to last very long if you've got a lot of people in the building. So the Prime Minister talks about making sure your premises are COVID secure. So that basically means marking floors, for example, with 2 meters, using signage for one-way systems, arranging workstations so they're not face-to-face, but rather staggered, installing screens and limiting that workflow. So you could, for example, have staggered start and finish times, so to reduce the number of people coming and going at the same time. And obviously that might well reduce the numbers on using public transport at the same time. Things like staggering lunch breaks and break times to avoid too many people being perhaps in the canteen or the smoke hut or whatever it is, and switching to online meetings whenever you can. And that could even be online meetings that you hold with people in your business. So instead of everybody going into a meeting room, even if you're 2 meters apart, if you've got your own offices, perhaps have those meetings online. So reminding your employees and your visitors to remain vigilant. The virus is still there, and I kind of feel as though people think things are back to normal, and they're really not. So it's important to remind your employees of recognising the symptoms, those coughs, high temperatures, and I think losing your sense of smell now, not attending work, but following your absence reporting procedure. So make sure that everyone is aware of those reporting procedures, and you might even need to update them with guidance on COVID-19. So I would suggest you use your absence reporting procedures as you normally would. However, give some flexibility to that, because there could be some people who are self-isolating because they've been told to by the NHS from the test and trace. There could be people who are still shielding, so just be a little bit more flexible on it. We do expect some kind of increased absence when we move into the winter, with people perhaps just with regular coughs and colds who perhaps are worried about symptoms. So I would encourage them to take a test and stay at home until you get the results of those tests. So if there is an increase in staff absence, just be mindful that, you're going to have to put some contingency plans in place for that. So if you've normally got, 5 people on the shop floor and you've got 3 of them off, how will you cope with that? So perhaps just talk to employees that maybe were on furlough and put that into the agreement, but they might be called back at short notice. When you are bringing people back, I would always suggest you give as much notice as possible, but sometimes, that's out of your hands if other employees are off sick.